Hi, this is Seid, founder of the Black Belt Communication Skills Coaching Program and Cascadia Workshops. I work with positive change agents, which I define as people who are committed to making a positive difference in the world and who are also committed to their own personal growth and development. We go by lots of different names: positive change agents, change makers, cultural creatives, social entrepreneurs, evolutionaries, sustainability activists. But basically we have that dual commitment to making positive change and also working on ourselves. And I give positive change agents the tools, the skills, and the coaching so that they can make the biggest positive difference they can and manifest the life of their dreams. If you've ever had a really big vision of something you wanted to create or something that you wanted to create for your life, but didn't really know how to get there, that gap can be really excruciating. If you've ever wanted to be someone who could make a really big positive difference, but weren't sure where to start perhaps, or maybe you noticed that there are lots of tools, processes, methodologies out there. There's so many things, and I have this joke that the New Age movement gave us hundreds of great tools, but thousands of crappy ones. That's one of the problems, right? Is how do we choose among all these things? How do we discern what's high caliber, what's really effective, and what isn't? I really struggled with all those different things. When I was 16, I became aware of the fact that we're in the largest extinction period since the dinosaurs. And that's when I first became aware of, I don't call it global warming, I call it global weirding. And just all the different problems that are happening on the planet, what to do about that. And I became aware at that point in time that I had a choice. I could become part of the solution or I could continue to be part of the problem. And that's when I committed to be part of the solution. And I also committed at the time to finding best practices. So what are the best processes or tools or methodologies for how to live in harmony with the planet, with each other, and within ourselves? So that's been my journey ever since then, is finding those tools and incorporating them in my own life. Now, I happen to have a facility for getting up in front of other people and getting up in front of groups and articulating other people's information. And so I've been in the workshop and seminar business for a long time, and now I'm making all this information available on the internet through this YouTube channel and in other places as well. When I was 18, I had this kind of aha experience that I had been in school since I was 5 years old, and I was just being prepared to be a cubicle slave, to be a replaceable cog in the machine of this economic system that's destroying ecosystems and indigenous cultures all over the planet. And it freaked me out. I did not want to be part of that. And I knew I wanted to get out of the rat race before I even got in it. A couple years later was when one of the first tools that I now teach fell in my lap, and it has to do with personal finances. And it allowed me to generate some savings so that later on, when I was in my late 20s, I was able to take some time off from paid work. Now, it started off as 6 months or a year. I thought, yeah, I'll take 6 months off. And I had a great opportunity to participate in a sustainable living summer camp as a volunteer staff person. My job at the time in Seattle wasn't being so fun, and our landlords were selling the house we were living in, so we had to move. And I thought, okay, I'll just take 6 months off or a year. We'll see how it goes. Well, that turned into 2 years, which turned into 3 years, which became 7 years that I didn't have to have a paid job. And it was during that 7 years that I became a full-time seminar junkie. And I studied everything that I could get my hands on that had to do with this notion of how to live in harmony with natural systems, with each other, and how to grow ourselves so that we could be more effective and more present. It was during that time that I also visited intentional communities and researched learning centers, and it was also during that time that I sat a lot of meditation courses, and that my wife Trisha and I did our land search, and we now live on our dream property, which is where I'm shooting this video. So when that 7-year period of time ended, I came out of it with all these different skills that I didn't have before, and I was able to serve the people that I enjoy serving, which are people who are up to making a difference and working on themselves, and get amazing results in so many different areas where I've really watched people grow into a more powerful version of themselves and be able to make a really big difference in the world. Now, it used to be that your actions didn't really much matter. I mean, we're so little and we can't make much of a difference, positive or negative. It's sort of almost like the idea of the new frontier. I mean, our economic system was created at a time in which it seemed like the earth was infinite in terms of its ability to absorb pollution and infinite in terms of the resources that it could provide. Now we're finding out that that's no longer true. And we're finding that we're all interconnected, interdependent, and interrelated. And so our actions do make a difference for better or for worse. Difficult times are calling us to step up to a greater version of ourselves so that we can be a bigger contribution. So what I've been doing over the past several years is taking all my content and putting it out there so that it can be accessible to you, so that you can start to get access to these tools. And I've been a filter for my tribe. I've been really discerning what are the really high caliber tools and methodologies. And I'm making this available more and more over time. Now, a very common sort of mindset that people bring to this kind of work is one of sort of being cynical and depressed and, oh yeah, right, whatever. And which is the reason why I'm making so much of this available for free, so that people can just check it out and get a taste and see if they like it. What I want for you is to be able to connect with your inner Zen master and to connect with that part of you that's a badass in creating positive change for the world. I call it being an unstoppable force for good. That's what I want for you. And so what I invite you to do, or perhaps challenge you if that is more helpful, is to go down into the description below this video and click on one of the links so that you can have access to some of this free video training. Thanks.